Today we ask, how does defrost work? Because I'm not sure if I should have on cold or hot air, but we're going to get to the bottom of it. We also talk about Tesla's upcoming flying car. Yes, really. We talk about the Corvette that may soon be getting a stick shift once again. We also talk recent leaks that seem to lead to the idea that there might be an SRT Ramcharger SUV coming, kind of weird. And we're going to talk more about this week's top automotive headlines. Everything's timestamped below if you want to skip around. Real quick, also, before I get going, a lot of people don't seem to see my shorts, talks, and reels. I see a lot of, oh, haven't seen your content come up in a while. Yes, it just seems like the short stuff doesn't get delivered as well or something, but I'm on all of the platforms if you guys want to check me out on your favorite short form platform. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Let's get into this week's stories, starting with something fun. When you use defrost in your car, are you supposed to put the temperature on hot or cold? Because I am a car guy. I didn't even know how this wizardry works, but I decided to look it up, and here's what I found. Before I tell you that, though, I'll tell you what I thought about the whole thing. I thought that when it was warm outside, you were supposed to use warm air, and when it was cold outside, you were supposed to put it on cold, because somehow in my head, the opposite temperature would make the glass foggy. Spoiler alert, that's not right at all. What I did find is that defrost is a feature of your air conditioning system, not your heating system, even in the winter months. So when you hit the defrost button, the AC kicks on, but here's kind of the trippy part of it all. You still want to put the temperature on hot, even though it's technically air conditioning, because the goal isn't to cool the car, it's to dry the air. Why hot air though? Well, apparently hot air will hold more moisture than cold air, so basically the hot air hits the moisture and sucks it up and then gets circulated into your AC system that then pulls that moisture out of the air, and then the AC pulling the moisture out of your air is why you see it dripping during the hot months. So hot air is the answer. Also, you want to make sure that you have outside air on, because you don't want to do the recirculating thing that will recirculate moisture back into your cabin. So I know I'm probably going to get laughed at a little bit because I didn't know this, but maybe some other people didn't know it. So drop a comment and tell me the truth. Did you know this, or am I just an idiot? So now that we got our fun out of the way, let's move on to the next story. The stick shift Corvette is making a comeback. How do we know? Well, of course, the Reddit detectives were at it again. They managed to dig deep into the depths of the Tremec website and found something huge. For those who don't know, Tremec is the company behind every legendary manual you know from a GM performance car. And now the Tremec blog is talking about a brand new transmission that they've built, a 6-speed manual transaxle. What does that sound like it's for? So here's where things get even more interesting. They say the transmission maintains the same packaging as the TR9080, that is the dual clutch auto found in the current C8 Corvette. I can already hear the counter argument flaring up because there has been no official announcement from Chevy just yet, and people are going to think that, this could just be for aftermarket applications. If you ask me though, a company of Tremec's size wouldn't create an entire transmission only for the aftermarket of a single vehicle. The viability would probably be questionable, because while they do make some aftermarket options, this one is so specifically tailored to one car, I wouldn't think the return would be worth their while if Chevy wasn't on board for an OEM application. The article also mentions an estimated rating of 800 pound-feet of torque with 1,000 horsepower and an input engine RPM up to 8,600. And as one keen Redditor pointed out, and you might have noticed, 8,600 is the exact RPM that the Z06 redlines at. So where do we stand then? At the bare minimum, Corvette owners will now have the option to go stick shift with an aftermarket modification. The transmission at least exists now. That's pretty much confirmed. What seems likely is that we will hear an announcement soon that a factory stick shift option is coming within the next phase of the Corvette Z06s in the next model year or so. I think that the Corvette needs to have a manual transmission, right? Like, it's just at the core of what a Corvette is. Somebody pointed out that, like, the Supra started out more basic, got the buyer base going, and then when the hype died down a little bit, they started throwing in other options, which could be the case here. Up next, we're going to talk a little bit about a flying car coming to the automotive market soon. This is like a real story, which is crazy that I haven't heard a whole lot about it, but here's what it is. One of the biggest automakers in the world promised a flying car by the end of the year, and I don't know why, but it's not really getting talked about. The Tesla Roadster is reportedly going to debut as the world's first flying car later this year. This isn't AI. This isn't clickbait. This is real life and a real story. Elon Musk went on the biggest podcast in the world and said that he's about to deliver a product demo that he claims will be unforgettable, whether it's for good or bad. On the Joe Rogan Experience, Rogan pushed for more details, and Elon spilled this. He said, quote, "If Peter," referring to his billionaire friend Peter Thiel, "wants a flying car, he should be able to buy one." Joe then asked him directly if flying cars were coming, and he wouldn't 100% confirm details, as he seemed like he wanted to sell the upcoming demo instead of spilling the beans completely. And I'm not sure how much more direct one could be about the Roadster being a flying car without directly saying it, but that really seems like where we're at this point. Elon followed up by saying he thinks, quote, "It has a shot at being the most memorable product unveil ever," end quote. He even questioned if it could still be considered a car at this point. Those who have been following the Roadster timeline know that this thing has been in the pipe for a while. The original prototype was unveiled all the way back in 2017, and nearly 9 years later, it looks like we might finally get a reveal and learn what has been taking so long to bring this thing to light. Remember, not long ago, Elon did confirm that there may be a SpaceX package collaboration here with rocket technology happening. So we're going to have to wait and see what's what, because this sounds absolutely absurd and potentially like it could follow through on that most memorable product unveil promise.
Let's just put it this way. It's crazier than anything James Bond. If you took all the James Bond cars and combined them, it's crazier than that.
Tesla is kind of in a weird place in my head. See, like, I think that Elon's a really smart guy. He has a lot of great products. I think that the Tesla brand has done a lot of great stuff. But on the same hand, you can't really ignore the fact that he's like always late to the table. Things are delayed. Things are behind. Sometimes it can get the feeling like you'll never see them. Sometimes things haven't come out. But with this one, he's promising it within the next couple of months. So they have to be pretty much almost done with this. But with this saying that it's right around the corner, I think that we're going to see a flying car somehow. I really don't know how this hasn't been posted about everywhere. But I guess we'll see. Time will tell. Hopefully by the end of 2025. On to the next story we have going here. Ram Trucks is doing a lot of big things. They seem to really be shaking it up and kind of taking a new approach that's a little bit less focus group-esque. So what are they up to? Let's get into the story. Ram promised 2 new SRT performance trucks coming soon. One of them could possibly even be an SRT Ram SUV on top of that, revived Ramcharger perhaps. Ever since Ram brought back the V8 after realizing that they messed up by ditching it in the first place, it feels like they finally kind of get it. They're more tuned in and they're listening to customers. What have the customers been asking for this time? A renewed Ramcharger. As for the promised SRT trucks, one of them is basically accounted for. Everyone expects that the TRX is going to slide right back into its spot where it left off, but under the SRT badge this time. So what's going on with the other SRT truck? Automotive News reports that each truck is going to have a totally distinct value proposition, meaning they're going to be on opposite ends of the spectrum. If the other truck's on the opposite end of the TRX, an off-road performance truck, that points to 2 things. Either we're going to get a performance street truck out of Ram, or we're going to get a performance SUV. This is where my mind kind of goes like Trailblazer SS territory. Oh, and by the way, Chevy, if you're watching, a revived Trailblazer SS could be a thing too. Just saying. If we start talking personally, like I just love the performance trucks and SUVs, so it would be amazing to me, as this is near and dear to my heart, to see, some performance street trucks. Like, what performance street trucks have we really seen? I mean, I guess technically a TRX is a street truck, off-road oriented. I should say non-off-road oriented trucks. What have we really seen? Like, they've kind of been under the radar, or, dealer packages like the Yanko stuff, Direct Connection, Shelby, that kind of thing. We haven't really seen a factory performance street truck. Will it be an SUV? Will it be a lowered truck? What's it going to be? Leave me a comment. Let me know what you guys think on that one. But let's move on to the last story here. This one just made me mad. So This is going to be real opinionated. Sorry. Anyways, on to the last story of the day. Are you a snitch? Well, if you are, Nevada's now rewarding you. For those who live miserable lives, they're now able to play hall monitor when it comes to minor infractions from their fellow drivers. These cowardly Karens can tattletale completely online without ever having to look anybody in the face. Nevada's new tool allows residents to report drivers with expired, out-of-state, or missing tags on their vehicles. The tool was rolled out last month, and it turns out there are a number of nasty people in Nevada, as over 10,000 reports came in within just 2 weeks. Oh, and if you want to talk about a system that was built to be weaponized and feels like 1984 at the same time as people are literally reporting unpaid royalties to their king, this is it. The system's called Registration Spotter, and it seems like it has mainly focused on out-of-state plates because people who live in Nevada will often keep their tags out of state because it's just cheaper. You see, Nevada charges registration based on MSRP of the car, and it can be thousands of dollars to register your car. So basically, the state is now asking residents to help them squeeze every last dime out of their fellow citizens for fees that are just wildly nonsensical in the first place and will probably just be pocketed by some part of the government anyways. If you can't tell by now, I'm completely against things like this. Not only is a system like this just a shameless cash grab, it enables the worst kind of people to double down on nasty behavior. I get it. In certain instances, you don't want to have a broken down, rusting car in your next door neighbor's yard, right? But come on, we have to do better as a society. And I think that Nevada should be downright embarrassed to have something like this floating around. It's kind of baffling to me that a team of people was actually dedicated to spending time and taxpayer money to actually put together this system. I guess I kind of have multiple issues with this program. Let's get to the less inflammatory one that's not going to get me as amped up first. The whole Karen situation, like, why are we snitching on each other for something this stupid? Like, your tags are out of date, your neighbor's gonna call you in. Like, if there's a person that needs to get a life, it's the person making this call. Find a way to make yourself happy, because this is a miserable, miserable person doing this. And, you know, when you're paying taxes and things like that, I would be able to get down with it and wrap my head around it if I paid my taxes, paid my registration, and I was like, oh yeah, like, this is helping the community and the world around me improve. But it's just not the case, which is why I get outraged when I hear stories like this, because they're gonna waste that money anyways. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Please hit the like, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff. I will talk to you guys next time. Later.